Good morning. How you going? Matt here, Solvent. Welcome to Restart Saturday at 9. And once again, we're here live, and I haven't got a clue what I'm going to say. So I'm just kind of going through the application now, and it's like, well, what are we going to talk about today? And I just don't know. I just don't know. I'm doing this in public, and I'm doing this for me. Obviously, I realise nobody's showing up right now, which is great, because what it means is I get to do this, and this really helps me on a Saturday morning because, like I say, Insolvent, we're creating a moment in time, we're creating a series of moments in time, just to be able to bring that awareness about, so we get that pause where I can look at what's going on, how am I tracking, what do I want to do in this moment, and I can make a conscious decision. And when I'm making conscious decisions, then I'm living life on purpose. If I'm living life on purpose, that gives me plenty of choice. I can decide where it is that I want to go, and one step at a time I can get there. So Restart Saturday at 9 is that weekly moment in time for me. I create a weekly moment in time where I can come here and I can download and see what's going on. You know, how have I been getting on through the week? Well, this week my routine's been a little bit out, and occasionally on days I've had a busy day, a busy week with projects, and that's meant that my routine has been out a little bit. So there's been a couple of days where I've had to do 2 days numbers in Solvent. You know, everything's up to date, and I go in and I just bring everything up to date as it should be. But while I'm in that space, I'm noticing that my spending becomes a lot more erratic. It's not as deliberate. It's not as on purpose. So I need that weekly moment like today. So after this webinar, the thing I do after the webinar is I go and check on my spending plan. How am I getting on? What was planned? What did I say I wanted to do? What am I actually doing? As I track these transactions, each one gets added to my spending plan, and then I can see throughout the month, how are we getting on? What do I need to change? And if I'm not tracking my numbers daily, then it becomes easier for me to spend money. And I noticed I've spent a bit of money on the phone this week. Sit on the couch watching the telly on a night, and I'm doing a bit of shopping because I'm bored of what's on the telly or whatever, you know, and maybe, all right, well, I'll just buy that. And I go and spend money unnecessarily without checking my plan. So I need to make a decision. This is not a beat up thing. This is just an awareness. This has gone on. Why has that gone on? What's the situation that leads around it? And I can start and I can analyze and I can have a look and see what are the things, what are the causes and conditions that lead me to spending erratically. Well, the first cause is I stop keeping my numbers, or I miss a day keeping my numbers. So I'm not aware of what's going on. I can see there's money in the bank, but what I don't know is what's coming up, you know? And that's what today's about. Today's about getting into the plan, having a look, what's my actual versus what it is. I've got as many dates as I can have on there, and keeping a track of it. So there's been a bit of change this week. I'm building this out in public. So as you know, very, very rarely do we do one of these episodes and nothing goes wrong. You know, and that's fine. That's good because it shows me gaping holes that need to be taken care of. Last week, I noticed there was a problem with the spending plan, so we've rebuilt spending plans through the week this week. That's been done. Yeah. This week, I'm going to talk about investing. So I go and look at the investing dashboard, and how do you know Solvent is going to meet you where you are? Well, because that's what's happening right now. And because I haven't been ready for investments, the investment category on Solvent is to serve a purpose. You know, this system was built for me. The idea of investments is while I'm focused on getting rid of my debt and I'm paying down my debt weekly, all of my excess cash is going into my debt right now, because if I put it into investments, then don't get the return on investment that the interest rate costs me on my debts. So I'm paying my debts off, but I don't want to be focused on debt. You know, I want to be focused on wealth and abundance. So I built the investment portfolio panel to be able to learn and educate myself while I'm paying off my debt. So then when the time comes, when my debt's gone, I've got a whole bunch of stocks that I've been watching. I've got all my investment things that I've learned over the period while I'm paying off my debts. And then I can buy the investments when my debt's gone. So everything's ready. So I'm using the time of paying off debt. My cash needs to go off the debt to reduce the interest rate, but that doesn't mean to say that my focus has to be on debt. I can put my focus on investing by learning. And that's what I'm going to show you today. But as I've gone through this morning and just had a quick look through the system as we're going through, what kind of things am I pointing out? I'm starting to notice the holes. And what happens is I see the holes and then I fix around them and we make them out. And this is the beauty of getting involved in Solvent right now. Because it's been actively developed, you know, if you log into Solvent and you see something that's not working the way that you want it to work, or you'd like to see a different feature, then there's always the opportunity to be able to do that. And we can start and shape the system the way that it works for other people as well. Because right now it's just my opinion, you know, so let's make it better. Let's make it work. And that's where we are, you know. So I come here on a Saturday, we have this conversation, I play around in the system, I see what's wrong, I see what's missing. And what it also does, it helps me with my content for the week on LinkedIn as well. So as I'm putting out there, it gives me a nice content arc. What's going on? Where are we? Snapshot. Boom. There's a week's content. Right. Awesome. That's what it's all about. So restart Saturday at 9. We're creating a moment in time. Not a lot else to say on that. We're just going to share the screen and we're just going to walk through it. So we're into Solvent. This is where we were last week. And we added a dream. We added a goal account. It's an investment emergency fund. We want to save $1,000 up so that we can break the dependence on credit cards. You know, if I've got $1,000 in this credit card and something emergency happens, then I can use that money instead of reaching for the card. So that's where we left off. But what you'll see today, you might notice now we've got 10 days left on the trial. I opened this account a few weeks ago, well, 20 days ago, because we're 10 days left of a 30-day account. So we opened this account so that you can see what happens. You know, you haven't seen a single padlock yet. We haven't had any resource restrictions. Now we've got 10 days left to go. All right. So 10 days left to go, we're going to give you the opportunity to upgrade or stay free. So if you stay free, you know what's going to happen. Okay. So we're going to go into settings. What we're going to do, we're going to lose all of the client stuff from here. We're going to have the basic timer, not the basic timesheet, not the per client timesheet. Investments will disappear as well. You'll keep everything else. Debt, settings, spending analysis, spending plan, all of this stays. This calendar integration stays. Your goal accounts stay. You do lose the retirement plan. Why? Because we're meeting you where you are. You know, so if you're trying to get out of debt and you've got all of this thing going on, the last thing you want to be doing is distracted by other stuff. So that's why all of this lot doesn't exist unless, you know, let's get out the hole first, take the urgency away from it. Now, when you start to think about retirement, let's upgrade. At that point, we'll then start and add this stuff. So today, what we'll do, I want to show you. We're going to stick on both for now, so that we've got I can show you the features that are part of the free trial as opposed to the always free plan, and that's the timer. The timer's different, you know, because the timer is based around project. Yeah, so I can create all of these time blocks from here. I can create invoices based off them. I can add them to service level reports. And that's great. I was talking to somebody through the week, and he was talking about from a business perspective. You know, it's like I use Solvent every day in my business. You know, I don't so much create invoices from timesheets. I would if that opportunity came up, but my clients tend to be on service level agreements. So what I'm doing is I'm creating a report at the end of the month, and I add all my time blocks that I've created through the month. I add them to the service level report, and that's what I'm submitting to my clients on a monthly basis. I can do invoicing from here as well. But what we were talking about was the reconciliation, and how if a business owner reconciles, does the transaction in Solvent, you know, we want to create a moment in time, conscious awareness, this is what that payment was for, right? Once I've made that decision, everything else should be easy, yeah? So Solvent will never automate, right? It will never be fully automatic. The point of transaction, that first reconciliation, needs to be made consciously so that I can see what's going on. If I can't see those numbers, how do I know what to change if everything's happened in the background? So I use Xero in my business, and Xero has this thing where it goes, it's got an OK button. So it links to my bank account, and then there's the bills coming in, and it's got OK. Ding, 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 ding. Well, the thing is how do I know? It's too easy for me to just go bang, 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 and I do Xero in 2 minutes flat. What the next development for Solvent is going to entail is making it so that a business owner only has to reconcile once. We make the decision in Solvent, we reconcile it. That will then push a conscious notification through to Xero that is going to allow us to be able to do that as well. So, what we want to do, yes, we don't want to automate. We want that manual moment. But once that manual moment has been created, once we've made the decision, everything else should just flow seamlessly. It's the same principle with the transactions. We want to look back to learn, but we don't want to have to automatically enter each one manually, because that just takes too long. It's too hard. So the import system imports all the transactions quickly. Now we can look back to learn, and we can change the behavior going forward one day at a time. Same thing with Xero. We can then we can make the transaction, read in the account codes. We know everything there. We map our categories to our account codes. Once we've made that transaction in Solvent, push a button, then it goes and updates Xero. So that's going to be the goal. This is the kind of thing that comes out of conversations with users in real time, because it helps us to be able to develop the system. So that's timers. Your time blocks are the same, your calendar's the same, clients. I've got basic client management in here. I use ActiveCampaign. So in ActiveCampaign, we can book a consultation, show you how we're using ActiveCampaign to be able to do everything in here. Much better client management. This is just basic CRUD stuff. So we've got the agreements, service level reports. Like I say, this is what I've got on for my clients. I work with long-term clients, and we have agreements. I have X amount of hours a month, blah, blah. That's where that goes. Right. But investments, that's where I wanted to get to. Right. So on the free plan, all of this is going away. You're just going to get your basic timer, your time blocks, and your calendar. Okay. That lot disappears because you don't need it. Right. Goals. So create a retirement plan. What's the current age? I wish I was 30. 52. Oh, I'm not going to retire at 65. I'm going to retire at 72. Life expectancy, I'm going to live to 110. Okay. What inflation rate do I want to go through? It's probably more than that right now. Let's make that free. Okay. Current annual income. Let's put 80k. Current portfolio value. Do I have anything for my KiwiSaver? Maybe got $100,000 in the KiwiSaver. Monthly debt payments. Oh, that's there, look. So my portfolio value is nothing. KiwiSaver goes in there. Yeah. Okay. Get started. There's my debt calculator comes out. Now what I've got here is this reads in my current spending. Where can I cut money to be able to increase my spending? What if I retire at 72? What if I retire later? I can play my what if game. Yeah. And so this gets the number there, 1.6, the gap. What am I going to invest? Monthly increase to $6,550 to retire on time. So let's go 6550. If I commit to that, bang, that's now locked in. That's going to allow me to retire at 75. That's the number that I need to commit to each month if I want to retire at this age. If I want to come up to that and change it, these numbers will change accordingly. right? So that's my what if scenarios, my calculator. This looks pretty good. Yeah, and then of course you've got Eli. Eli can review your plan when it's a bit more complete, because set spending targets. Okay, so that's what we're doing in here. We're setting spending targets to be able to we set our income in here. What income do we want a year? 64k. That's probably reasonable at retirement. But there you go. Right, so that's our retirement plan. Eli, let's talk about Eli. Right, Eli is elevated life intelligence. All right, Eli can help us throughout the system. It's going through some changes right now. So right now you'll see it at the top here. We're making changes to Eli. This is going to happen live. It's going on in the background right now. It's active development, and it's going to be much more seamless. But what Eli can do, for example, let's go to our watch list. So Eli will go and scout a company for us. Okay, so let's have a look. Let's go VTI. Over VTI. Done. Go scout the company for me, Eli. So Eli will now go along and is doing the research on this company. Okay, this is who they are. Now, all of these things that Eli is giving me here is part of my due diligence checklist. Okay, because I don't know about investing. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not an investor. So I need to build tools to be able to help me. And that's what this does. So now I can have a conversation with Eli about this, about this business. Can get down into here. These are some of my due diligence. Eli gives me questions to research next, but let me add it to the watch list. Okay, so we can do all of that, set all that. What's the investment thesis? Why might you avoid this? Tags, get all that. You get all that from your conversation with Eli. Add to the watch list. Oh, got to do this. Can't remember what it's called, but anyhow, this is just demo. Something like that. Right. Okay. So that creates me a journal on here. All right. So here's one that I've been watching. I'm looking at Hallensteins. So when I can come through here, I get my graphs. So this is 90 days, a year, and 5 years, right? So you can see that while I'm watching this now, I've got these stocks on my stock list, and when I add them to my watch list, I get a due diligence checklist. Okay, so the business understanding. Can I explain what this company does in one sentence? How does the company make money? Is the company growing, stable, or declining? What's the competitive position? Okay, so we can go through and answer all of these questions, and I can ask Eli for help at any time. Yeah, that then gives me the answers to these questions. All right, so I do my due diligence, and then I can add a research journal. So as I go through, I might do a bit of research around it, do a bit of work. Then I come in, I can add an entry as to what it is that I've learned, and I build a portfolio on this company. So I know what my investment thesis is. I know why I might avoid it. So what is it that I'm watching for? What's my confidence like in it? And then by doing this, I can build up this knowledge bank on that stock, and away I go. Learn while I'm paying off my debt. And then when the time comes, I can then go to my holdings and I can add my first holding. Eli will tell me when a good time to buy this is, and then I can pre-fill from my watch list. All right, so I can get a watch list on here. Let's go Hallensteins, asset stock, blah, blah, quantity 300, average cost per unit, current price, whatever it is. Okay, add the holding, and I'll get my dividend on that. Miss no dividend. I'd know what all of this is because I'm watching it. Now I've got a holding on here, and this gives me my dashboard where I'll be able to go through, work on that. So that's the idea with the investments. You know, the purpose is this record my dividends on there. It's just another dashboard. Yeah, no dividends this month. Yeah, but that will pay out as I add them to my holdings. Okay, so that's what we're doing with investments. So right now, Eli is up here. It's going to be moving. So I'll show you here now. We've got chats on here. All the conversations are kept. Right. So right now you're going to see this. In the future, this is going to change. We're getting rid of this dashboard from here because made it mobile friendly. We're getting into integrations, and then we're going to open in Eli. And if we click open in Eli, that's going to throw us through. And this puts us into the Eli dashboard. Now, once again, this is going to change, you know, because Eli is the mobile companion, the chat. So you talk to Eli in here. Now you can see all of these are the same chats as what we got before. Yeah, so you are Eli, that's from Scout in the company. And I can start a new chat with Eli here. This sits on your phone, like I say, it's application, but we want to make it so that it goes through there, yeah? So plan week, you're going to see all of this lot change. This is going to be different. I don't want to spend too much time in it because it's changing. So solvent, going back to Eli. So that's going to be in there. We'll work it out. It's going to change. 9 days left in my trial now. How about that? We've just ticked over for time zone. Right. Because I opened this account in this webinar. Now it's clicked down, so it's clicking down by hours. Good to know. Right, so that's, I don't know what else to talk about today. But the investments, that's part of the plan. So when you're on a current plan, you're on the SME, $75, $79 a month. This is the business plan with all the integrations and everything. You don't get a zero integration on the $39 plan. So you can see all the differences that you get in here. Yeah, but yeah, investments open up on the free plan. Yeah, investments open up at this level. Yeah, on the paid plan, sorry. Yeah, because that's where we get to. That's where you'll first meet Eli. So I don't know what else to say. I think I'm pretty much done for today. That's cool. I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to wrap up because I've said enough. Don't know what else to say. So my name is Matt from Solvent. Great to have you here. See you in the next one. And for now, that's a wrap.